हर हर महादेव की जय। लक्ष्मी नारायण भगवान की जय। वेद गायत्री माता की जय। Our most revered Acharya ji, Sevaka, when you sit there, Acharya, know it? I know. Our most revered souls, mothers and fathers, our dear brahmacharis, our dear children of the mandir, special invitees and guests, pranam, swagatam, welcome to our Monday evening Shiva Puja. Every Monday at 7 we commence our Shiva Abhishekam. But today is much special in our Hindu calendar, that today is also Nirjala Ekadasi. It's an Ekadashi that is the best, as it is told by our Puranas. It is the best that is being given to us in the entirety of the year. In a regular year we have 24 Ekadashi. Adhika Mas, the extra month, as we will incline it to be, we have more. But my dear brothers and sisters, Nirjala, this fast is so rigid even without water. And we fast today to Bhagavan Sriman Narayan. And it is said because of health reasons or otherwise, if we cannot keep any Ekadasi Vrat twice in a month, then at least on today's Ekadashi, if you keep with that faith to Lakshmi Narayan, today we perform Abhishekam, it's a Ma Lakshmi Narayan Mandir. We perform Abhishekam to Bhagavan Lakshmi Narayan. It's also Gayatri, Ved Mata, the mother of the Vedas, of all knowledge. Ved Mata Jayanti, Savitri Jayanti. My dear devotees, what a blessed day. And to top it off, we have two blessed souls from Chinmaya Mission. Acharya Ji in their own rights, humble devotees. Dev Ji, who would sometime before we would have listened to Dev Ji, not in this location. So many years ago, we would have listened to Dev Ji, maybe you cannot remember. And then not so long ago, we listened to his better half, Acharya Jina Ji, who was with us here early in this year, if not last year, to dispense the knowledge and the jnanam, the wisdom to enhance our life. And today we are so blessed and fortunate to have this blessed soul in our temple and to give us a little knowledge. Whatever Dev Ji would have prepared, please let us be very quiet, open our mind. He's very deep in philosophy. Many of us would have known him. And of course, it is not just merely stories, but we need a little bit of your concentration and a little bit of your support to have that jnanam, that mahima. He's the security here to check everything is good, you know. To our online viewers, Bahuta Bahuta Swagatam. Please stay with us. Be participating in our satsang here this evening. And without further ado, we are happy from Chinmaya Mission Toronto. Last week we had Arunji with us. And so I said to him, this week it's maybe a Chinmaya thing, you know. Last week we had him and now we're having you this week with us. But we are so thankful, Dev Ji and Jina Ji, for being here with us. And I hope and pray after your stint away, you'll always come back and forth. Eh? You're always welcome to Mahalakshmi Narayan Mandir. Taking up the Sevaka life, both spouse, serving Dharma, it's not an easy thing. Serving Sanatan Dharma is not an easy thing. Everything else is part-time, including being a spouse. An employee, you know, we cannot say that let our employers here, you know. But when you are a Sevaka, you are full-time. The way these two souls have been doing it in our community, I commend them both for serving, for helping, for guiding our younger ones on the right path. Dev Ji, we are so blessed to have you and Jina Ji with us. Thank you so much. Without any further ado, I won't take up much more of our time, but let me pass it straight over to our learned, very, very talented Acharya Ji. He preferred to be called himself a Sevaka, a servant of Bhagavan, a servant of Bhagavan. And so when he sits on the asana, he's an Acharya. He's teaching. So we are politically correct. Vyas Bhagavan ki jai. Over to Dev Ji.
Hari Om, everyone. Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahmavidvaram Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Karpura Gauram Karunavataram Samsara Saram Bhujagendraharam Sada Vasantam Hridayaravinде Bhavam Bhavani Sahitam Namami Bhavam Bhavani Sahitam Namami. Hari Om. Let us begin by chanting Gayatri Mantra together. Put everything else out of your mind and just enjoy group chanting and the sound of this most ancient and powerful mantra. Om Bhur Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Hiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Om Bhur Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Hiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Om Bhur Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Hiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Okay. Thank you, Panditji and Pamji, for such a warm welcome. I'm happy to be back with all of the Sevakas, of Bhaktas, of Mahat Lakshmi Narayan Mandir. I was so nervous to get it wrong, although I knew it. Anyways. And I'm actually recognizing, I think, a few faces from when I came last time and we had satsang. So, thank you for the warm welcome, and warm welcome to everybody who's coming to this mandir for the first time. Such a beautiful mandir, so well, the vibes are so great, and the sevaks are so many. And that is all due to the work of our dynamic Panditji. We have spent some time together also in Trinidad studying together, and got to know each other well. So today's topic is, if you saw the poster, Gayatri Mantra, which we had just chanted, and Gayatri Devi, those two together. So I don't know if you ever had questions about chanting, worship on Jayanti days, japa, and all this type of thing. Gayatri Mantra, have you had questions about these things? Have you ever wondered, does it work? If I come and pray to Gayatri Mantra, is my intellect going to become brighter? Am I going to do better at school? Am I going to figure out the answer to my problems that keep me awake at night, or not? And if there is one thing Hinduism does not allow you to escape from. See, Hindus are very wonderful. We know very well that in our tradition, we don't have any strict rules about sadhana. In the sense that just because one person likes to do japa, everybody has to do japa. We don't have anything like that. If you like to sing bhajan, you go and sing bhajan. If you like to sing bhajan, but you don't like to get up and help and do something you don't like to do any seva, that's fine. And if you don't like to sing, you prefer to do seva, that's fine. If you don't like that also, you just like to sit and meditate, that's fine. You all different types of practicing any type of sadhana, spiritual practice, is fine. You just choose the one that you think suits you and you follow that well. This is Hinduism. As opposed to laying out some rule and asking everybody that belongs to this tradition to follow. You have seen other traditions are like that. Like when it's time for namaz and everybody bows, they all bow together in unison, right? But Hinduism is not like that. Even here in the mandir, somebody's offering prasad, somebody's maybe reading something, somebody's listening to bhajan, right? Somebody's visualizing the murti. You've come here to do your sadhana, correct? So you belong to a different type of tradition. So in that, freedom, many people take it to mean that, okay, well, anything goes. And if today, and I can choose any sadhana anytime. I don't have to stick to anything. And so many problems have come in with that. So we have to take some time and think. The one thing that Hinduism does not let you escape from, the one thing that everybody has to do if you want to call yourself a Hindu, is what? Intellectual application. There is no version of Hinduism that is true Hinduism that asks you to, please don't think about this, just have some blind belief and God will save you. Just light this agarbatti 3-4 times a year and everything will be fine. That type of thing is fast food religion. Everybody knows fast food is convenient, it is quick, but is not good for you, correct? So that type of religion is fast food religion. And then anybody who peddles that is peddling fast food thing. So, on the contrary, just like this mandir is always involving some study, some satsang, some intelligent practice. That is what Hinduism demands. Intellectual application. So if we're going to have a satsang on Gayatri mantra, then you should come with questions. And we have a nice tradition also. And I don't know if I want to reveal this part. If you do not get the answers to the questions you're looking for, after asking the right person, listening to all the logic, following along, and still you didn't get the answer you were looking for, Hinduism not just allows but encourages you to just throw out that answer and throw out the speaker also. Out you go. You're not speaking any sense. It gives such freedom of thinking to each individual. But in order to test what is being said there, we have what you call decision tree. You have to check and see, is what I'm saying in line with the Shastra? 1. Is it logical? 2. And does it match your experience? 3. All 3 tests. If I tell you, okay, it's here, I'm about to tell you something about Gayatri Mantra, and it's true just because it's written in Shastra. Just because of that reason. But it's illogical. And it doesn't match what you know. I mean, you know the sky is blue and rain is wet. And when you eat food, you get full. And when you don't eat, you get hungry. You know these things, right? And if it doesn't match your normal experience, you don't have to accept. Means, don't have to accept means what? Means you must test to finally find out, is that thing logical? Can I understand it in my own experience or not? If it doesn't meet all 3 tests, you can throw it out. You see the amount of freedom you have in Hinduism? But along with that freedom comes great responsibility. Now the ball is in your court to think and apply yourself. So you can think with me today. It's called Vichar. Think with me today about what the scriptures have to say about Gayatri Mantra, Gayatri Devi, why we do japa and all this type of thing. Hopefully by the end of it, you will have learned something and been inspired in your own practice and to be an exemplary for someone else. Okay, so first thing I shared is that everything in Hinduism has a logical reason behind its practice. Nothing is done just because. Second thing is that if you can't see the reason, it's on you to find it. You have to go find someone who can explain it to you. You've got to find the right person and have them explain it to you. All right. So that duty falls on all of us. Now, in prayer and worship, there's usually a lot of confusion. Before we start talking about Gayatri Mantra specifically, the general idea of sitting in front of Bhagavan, folding my hands, and praying, what exactly is going on there? Now, if you not sentimental about it, not temperamental about it, and you look carefully, finally, in many cases, that thing amounts to begging. Have you noticed? Or bartering. Oh Bhagavan, I came here on a weekday, not a Sunday, and I brought a full thali of ripe fruits. In exchange, please let my surgery next week go well. Please let me pass on my exam. Right? These type of things. In Bhagavad Gita, people approach the Lord seeking freedom from some affliction. They're called arthaha. Seeking wealth, artharthi. Seeking knowledge, jignasu. And there's a fourth type that approaches the Lord. They're called jnanis. They bring their thali and they worship the Lord and all that. But jnanis means enlightened beings. They worship the Lord because they can't help it. You do something that's because you can't help it sometimes. You see a child run to their mother because they can't help it. Out of love, and when they're in fear, this happens. You tear up, even though you try. Have you ever tried to hold back tears? If you haven't, you've missed out on life. If you haven't had such a like that, you can't help it. So in a similar way, the jnani can't help but worship Bhagavan. So people fall into these various categories and they do their worship, right? Okay. So the first thing I want to tell you is that anything that amounts to bartering or begging is really not what was meant when the rishis designed worship. So what does that mean? Put it this way. You are not going to pass the exam because you came to Saraswati Ma or her incarnation, Gayatri Ma, on Gayatri Jayanti, for instance, and did worship. It is not going to happen. You know, there's a simple example that you might have heard me tell before. But if you have one student who studies all year, but is atheist, and vehement atheist, ready to convince anybody that God doesn't exist, but studies for their math test all year, right? And then goes to write. And beside him, there's another fellow who didn't study all year. And coming down to the end, in the last week, still didn't study, but came to mandir every day. And worshipped every day. And cleaned the whole mandir. And did all kinds of seva. And smoked up the whole place with agarbatti. Then they go to show up for their exam. Between the two of them, who is going to pass? Who says the first one? The one who studied properly every day and all that, obviously. Who said the second one? Guaranteed not to pass. Not even a chance. Because the way you pass exams is by studying. Means for every result, there is a specific means in life. So for health, you don't have to pray to any devata. You have to live a healthy lifestyle. That is the means to health. And for wealth, intelligent work is required. Correct or not? Not praying to Lakshmi Ma. So this is proper thinking in Hinduism. So then you will ask another question. I was afraid of asking this question. Fear holds people back all the time. You know, I was always afraid of asking this question because of the implication. Then what's the point of coming to Mandir? If I can't get health, and I can't get wealth, and I can't get knowledge, what's the point then? Well, this comes right down to the brass tacks. What is the purpose of all this worship, and why are we here? Their method by prayer. That you have to see. Do you know the suicide rates between what we call educated people and what we call uneducated people are same? That means the PhDs jump off buildings just as frequently as the illiterate person. What does it tell you? And you go and study. People who have, they can't enjoy what they have. The newspapers are filled with stories of celebrities and wealthy businessmen who are doing all kinds of wrong things and are in trouble. So there's a little bit more to the equation. Let me give you the definition of prayer now. In English, simple words from our Puja Gurudev, Swami Chinmayananji. What is prayer? Prayer is tuning your mind to a higher power. Tuning it. The interesting language he chose. To tune your mind to a higher power or to a greater piece of wisdom, that is called prayer. Just like, so when you tune, what does it mean? It means you're invoking something. This is prayer. If I take my modern smartphone, right? Suppose I take an S24 smartphone and I plug in one of those old USB chargers, right? 4 amps or 2 amps. What do you expect to get? They call it trickle charge. That thing will charge next week, by next week only. But if you go and get one of those USB-C chargers and you plug it into a 100-watt box on the other end, what do you get? Lightning, right? So what does it mean? It goes to show that, see, electricity is everywhere, first of all. I saw one show and one boy was teasing the older sister for not being very scientifically intelligent. So they said, you know, and she was a hipster and all that. If you rub the phone on your head like this and create static electricity, it will charge. All day she's rubbing the phone like that. I can't forget that. Anyways, electricity is everywhere, right? Static electricity is there. But you have to go to a certain medium to connect. You have to connect by certain method and means, and you have to use the right medium. Then you invoke the power. In a similar way, to invoke certain ideas, attitudes, understanding in our own mind, to invoke it, there's certain techniques. That is all. And this is very ordinary. How is it that one girl gets up, goes to school, and she's ready to go 6:30 in the morning. Can't wait to go and face life and be part of all the clubs and teams and meet her friend and do something for the other one and celebrate this person's birthday and write this test. And the other one can't get out of bed and has to be pushed to wake up, pushed to shower, pushed to go to school. They both have a mind. So what exactly has the first one invoked in their system to generate that type of attitude and understanding? That's an ordinary question. People ask all the time. So then they will tell you, oh, you know, if you take these few chemicals, or you say this affirmation, right? Or you do this, you know, yoga routine before you sleep, it'll give you some good vibes and you'll wake up. They're just scratching at the surface of this science. But the most ancient tradition on the planet has studied all these things deeply and has come with wonderful techniques to invoke understanding. And you belong to that tradition. So whatever you find in terms of worship is nothing but invoking the Lord. Now, comes to sound. Mantra chanting is a specific technique by which we invoke. Invoke means what? Invoke the Lord, invoke ideas, invoke understanding, I've been saying. Right? This is what I've been saying the whole time. All these things exist already, dormant in you. Let me tell you this other little piece of information. The rishis roar loudly. Let it be imprinted on every jiva's mind. You have been designed for success. Designed to be great. Just as much as a car has been designed to drive. You have been designed to be successful. If you get up in the morning and you plug in the car, you don't plug in, well, I guess you do now, you plug in the car. Or you plug in the key and you turn and you hear tick, 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 tick. It doesn't mean that that car is destined not to drive. Because you know the car is designed to work. If it's not working, something has gone wrong. That has to be your conclusion, correct? In the same way, because you are a human being and you can do karma and you have an intellect and you can do that action intelligently, you can bring about in your life great results. No one else can do it. Intelligent work forces the universe to bring results to you. And you're a human being. You're designed for that. So if you don't find in your life you have not created a great amount of peace and prosperity, it's not because of your design. Something in the equipment has not been tuned up. So this is why you have to worship. So more specifically now, if you get down to it, right? Have you noticed a peaceful and calm mind is required to enjoy anything? Can you enjoy a movie, for instance, if your mind is not peaceful? Even a simple movie. Suppose you're sitting there and you have everything with you, right? A movie theater has a comfy seat. Some of them recline, right? And they have AC, and you're in the right position, center back. And then you have with you your hot popcorn, or nachos and cheese, right? Or Twizzlers, or whatever your favorite snack is there with you, right? And then all your friends to enjoy are beside you. And then you have one soda with a long straw, so long that you don't have to even bend your neck. Everything is aligned perfectly, right? And then suddenly, dun da 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 da, you know, and they drop the production scenes, and you're ready to watch. And then comes my man with a flashlight, and he pauses the movie, and he says, "Okay, such and such person with a Toyota," and he calls out your license plate. Your vehicle has been towed because of improper parking, and it will only be available next week. Now you borrowed that vehicle from your parents and went out. Can you watch the rest of the movie and enjoy? Well, if you can, please parents, don't give your vehicle to that child, right? But generally you can't. Why? Though the Coke is still there, and the pop is still there, and the AC is still there, and the movie is still playing, and the friends are still there, and the chair is still comfortable, and everything is same, you cannot enjoy because the mind is not peaceful. To enjoy just what you have right now here with you in this moment itself is not possible unless your mind is peaceful. You could be in here in Mandir on Gayatri Jayanti studying why we do worship and still be frustrated and worried and angry and anxious because you haven't been able to invoke peace. And getting a PhD or a master's or any kind of degree, it doesn't solve that problem. Anybody here has got postdoctorate in anything? Postgrad? They don't want to admit if you're there. Tell me, among all your postgraduate friends and all that, are they sadhus and saints? Peaceful, calm, best among society? Rather, they're the opposite. Or just as bad. So what is it that makes that mind peaceful and pure and steadfast like sadhus? In Hinduism, the bar is set by sadhus. Please know that. It's not set by Elon Musk. It's not set by any president. It's not set by anybody. It is set by sadhus. Because they have both. Whatever they are able to achieve in the world, plus they have mastered the mind. Sadhu means what? You know, sadhus are seen by their action. You might have heard this story, but it's so beautiful you can listen again. One sadhu was bathing in a river. And as sadhus do, he happened to see an insect struggling there in the water, and he waded over, and he cupped his hands like this, and he went to throw it back onto shore. In doing that, he got stung really badly, and he, by impulse, dropped that insect. And he thought, this is not any ordinary insect, this is a scorpion that stung me. scorpion sting me. So then what he did after that was quite remarkable. And there was one man watching from the bank. He went over a second time. He cupped his hands again and he tried and he got stung a second time. 2 times, if you can imagine, on the same hand. He went still yet a 3rd time. And finally he was successful. He got stung a 3rd time also. So the man now was on the banks was burning with a question. Why? Why would you do it? After all, the scorpion. And you know these bugs, probably the next minute he went back into the river. The sadhu was asked and answered when he came out from his bath. He said, look, what he didn't even understand why he was asking. Look, that's a scorpion. He was afraid. And his nature is to sting when he's afraid. The man said, yeah. He said, I'm a human being. And my nature is to be helpful. If a little insect is not going to give up his nature, why should I? That is called sadhu. Tulsidas writes that you know a sadhu because they're like cotton. Cotton gets plucked and, you know, what you call? There's a word for that. Before spun, they have to comb it and remove all kinds of impurities, right? Then they have to make each strand, they have to twist it, and then after that, you get the yarn and then or string, and then they weave it, and they cut it, and they press it, and then they dye it, and they do all kinds of things to it. And finally, what is its job? It sits here on my body here, this white kurta, and it covers anything and makes me look nice. This is sadhu. They take insult like no problem, but they protect others. So that is the bar in Hinduism. That is the hero. All that was to say why we need to do prayer. Don't lose the thread. To enjoy what we have, to be steadfast as a good person, to make our mind calm. And without that, you can't even make use of what you have. And it goes on and on like that. Calm, clear, balanced. Develop a relationship with God. And finally get mukti. For all these reasons, you do prayer. Minus that, whatever wealth and health and anything, notoriety you have, it doesn't do anything for you. This type of understanding, the old generation in Guyana used to have. They knew those priorities very well. Okay, now tell me a little bit about Gayatri Mantra. Okay. Gayatri appears 2 times in our tradition. Once Gayatri Mantra, you'll hear that, and you'll hear Gayatri Devi. These 2 places. But let me tell you a little bit about this famous Gayatri Mantra. Gayatri actually is also the name of a chanda. Chanda means meter. We have a wonderful tradition. All of our shlokas are put into locked units. Locked means once you have written that and you have encrypted it in a sound, with sound encryption, it cannot be changed from the outside, and it cannot be, what is the word? When coding becomes, when it cannot degrade also, and it'll last for a long time. Many languages don't have any concept of that. This is called chanda, and you have to put so many syllables in a sentence, and you have to make those syllables long and short at different points, like that. So Gayatri chanda or meter means you have 24 syllables in that shloka. You'll see, that's why every line of Bhagavad Gita sounds the same. Have you seen? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthanam dharmasya tadatmanam srajamyaham na 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 na. Everyone sounds like that, same. Because they're all following the same meter, anushtup. Or trishtup, there are 2 meters in Bhagavad Gita. So Gayatri has 24 syllables, and if you count Tat Savitur Varenyam like that and count, you'll get 24. Or you'll get 23 depending on how you pronounce it. Hmm? So this is Gayatri. Gayatri is also that mantra. The mantra starts from Tat. Om is not, it was added. And Bhur, Bhuvaha, Suvaha or Swaha, that is added also. Vyahriti it is called. So the 24 starts from there you have to count. Okay. Now, Gayatri is a sound that has a purifying effect on the chanter. How does this work now? Sound science is a big thing in our tradition. That I have to tell you a little bit about it. Now, this is a discovery you have. And don't think it's any airy-fairy kind of thing. Okay? This happens to Hindus all the time. We wait for someone from outside to go and discover it and write some paper about it, and then we feel, oh yeah, we're kind of great. They're convinced, and still we're not convinced. The power of mantra chanting. This is the topic now, and then if we have time, we'll go further. Okay. How it works is like this. Have you ever seen a tuning fork? A tuning fork is an old school method. Now they'll use something on the phone. An old school method to check if, let's suppose like a string instrument is in tune. When you tap that metal tuning fork, it always vibrates at the same frequency. It doesn't change. Within a certain temperature and all that, it won't change. So what happens is, they take that vibrating tuning fork and they bring it close to a string on, suppose, a guitar or a sitar. And they keep tightening like that. And but they don't touch it, the string. When the vibration from the tuning fork vibrates the air such that this string vibrates in resonance, then you know that that has now been tuned to the right frequency. That's how a tuning fork works. So very interestingly, the great saints say this is a great analogy for how mantras work. The mantra vibrates at a fixed frequency, and chanted in your own mind, your own mind resonates in that frequency. Some people worry, but my mind has real bad vibes. What if I'm the tuning fork and the mantra is the thing going to be affected? Don't worry. Those mantras have infinite power behind them, endless. So, when something vibrates at its natural frequency, it sheds off anything that has accumulated. Have you seen if you go out on a sunny day and you take one of the rugs from the house and you give it a good beating, to remove all the dust? When you shake that thing, what happens? In the sunlight, what do you see? The dust comes off. Vibration removes all that. So like this, the rishis have explained how the mantra works. And then some scientists went and studied the brains of Vedic chanters. And they discovered that there's an area in the brain, it's not a physical area, but it's a group of sections called the default mode network. You have to go and research this for yourself. Or DMN for short. And that default mode network is responsible for all the unconscious or non-deliberate thinking that goes on in the mind. So right now you're thinking actively, right? At the same time as you're thinking actively, there's so many unfiltered, unprocessed thoughts going on at the same time. Suppose on your way here, somebody cut you off, but you were late for satsang and you just got here. You just felt all those emotions, but you didn't process them. So they sit there unprocessed, actively. So that the part of the mind responsible for all that unconscious processing is called the DMN. Good feelings, bad feelings, worries, anxieties, somebody insulted you, whatever, it's sitting there. And the mind takes in tremendous amount of data. And we force feed it also. Every 30 seconds, a YouTube short we watch one after the other, after the other, after the other. Joke, worry, anxiety, and fill the mind, but we don't actually think about what's going on. All that sits there. That DMN is responsible for when people can't sleep at night. That DMN is responsible for when people feel an unexplained depression in life. It's very active and it hasn't calmed down. So this is that modern science. What they notice is those who do Vedic chanting, they calm the DMN. Observed effect. Physical immediate impact. Unprocessed, undigested worries and fears flutter from the mind like when you clap and birds go away, like that. So they have noticed a physical effect. Then Bhagavatam goes on to tell even more. This is not just for calming the mind. Bhagavatam reveals the power of this Gayatri mantra. Let me tell you this thing. To pull it out here. If you chant Gayatri mantra once, what is the effect? It says, whatever papa you're doing at the moment is removed. Like right now, we're doing some papa. Because to run this microphone and these ACs and these lights and all this whole system requires fossil fuels. So though we're doing such a great thing here, worshipping the Lord, we're also engaged in the destruction of the planet. Helplessly. To live in this world, you have to do that. So, even good karma has some pap. That papa at the present moment is removed if you chant just once. Chanting 10 times destroys papa of the whole day. Chanting 100 times destroys papa for a month. Chanting 1,000 times destroys papa for a year. Chanting 10,000 times for one past life. And it goes on like that. 1,00,000 times, 100,000 times. This life also. If you chant 1,000,000 times, all papa from all lifetimes. And if you chant 10,000,000 times, you'll get mukti. I'm not saying so. This is Devi Bhagavatam. So it's not just it leads to a light impact on the mind. This chanting has big impact. No wonder this Gayatri mantra is a most famous mantra that rishis have preserved and passed down. Okay. Now what does it say? That also has to be told. And tell me about Gayatri Devi. Let me tell you about Gayatri Devi first. Gayatri Devi has 5, you can count. Gayatri Devi is here. How many heads? I told you. 5. 5 heads. We have, let me go back. So many things to say in Hinduism. The Murti. What is the Murti that you're looking at now? We say Gayatri Devi. Everything in this universe has a deity or Devi, based on the principle that nothing in this universe can exist or operate unless there is the presence of some being. This is Hindu thought. This is not Western thought. Western thought is there can be a law of gravity. It can just exist there like that. Why is it there? Why is it upheld? In what is it held? You don't need to answer those things. Those are not intelligent questions. Okay. Or we don't have answers to those questions. But I need the answers to those questions. We'll wait a few 100,000 years or 100 years. We'll figure it out. We'll be dead and gone by then. So, based on that principle of the presence of some being, the rishis have eked out through their meditation that actually everything has some deity involved. So, the deity or the Devi for Gayatri mantra is Gayatri Devi. And she is an incarnation of Saraswati Ma. Saraswati Ma is an incarnation of the Vedas. She is the goddess of speech and knowledge and communication, period, anywhere in the universe. She's that entity responsible overseeing that. And her very incarnation is Gayatri Devi. And taken the other way, the essence of the Vedas is there in Saraswati. And the essence in that Saraswati is that Gayatri mantra. So the essence of the Vedas is there in the Gayatri mantra. That also, when we study, you'll see. Anyways, now. to understand the entity that upholds that rule and to tune into that power which it governs, the murti is given. The murti is a carrier of knowledge. It is designed by the rishis as a vessel. Don't look at the murti as just some form, some god. Not like that. It is in one way you understand it as a vessel that the rishis packed knowledge into, because it is symbolic, and the rishis understood something long ago about the human being. All human thinking is symbolic. You can't think in anything but symbols, be it sound symbols, picture symbols, letter symbols, is all symbols only. Emoticons, symbols only. Some people think in emoticons. Okay, so why not pass down the highest knowledge through symbols like that? So this is Indian pedagogy. There's oral, there's books, there's so many ways to explain, but the symbol is the most powerful. So to understand what it is to evoke that kind of power that I was telling you about, that Devi Bhagavatam says, the being which personifies that is laid out right here in front of you. And that being has 5 heads. We have 5 what? Yes. They are eyes, skin, nose, tongue. These are our 5 jnanindriyas, how we take in information from this world. Gayatri Devi has 1 head to govern, watch, control each sense. We have 1 head to govern 5. The message is what? The message is that if you're going to make it on this path, if you're going to invoke power in this universe, you have to live as though you have 1 head controlling each sense. And when you do your Gayatri Japa, you have to do that Japa with such mastery over those senses. Otherwise, you'll get no results. You will get no results. And that's an easy thing to see. If you put the iPad to play Gayatri Mantra 24/7 for your whole life, will it get mukti? No. Mechanical chanting doesn't do anything. Means it is okay, people put it in the background. They do that because they hope that when their mind wanders, at least they'll remember, they'll chant 1 Gayatri Mantra, then the mind is gone again. That's why they do that. But otherwise, this thing has to be chanted with attention, right? And there's a nice vidhi for chanting. So like that, and if you study 10 heads, 10 hands, 10 hands, and in each hand, you will find, almost in all hands, you find some weapon. And people are like, why do all your murtis carry weapons? That's a good question people ask. But if you're going to invoke some power, that power has to be used for good. Only. And if you're going to be good, there's a nice English phrase for that. What is the definition of good? We saw already sadhu. A sadhu is an active resistance against evil. That sadhu is actively going to try and save the scorpion. Not sitting there, well, I didn't participate in the riot, so I'm a good person. That does not qualify in Hinduism. Active resistance means in your life today and tomorrow, not only are you doing something by your own sense control to be a good person, you have to go out and be actively solving some problem in the community, doing something for someone else. Without that kind of active effort, you don't qualify as good. And to fight back against low tendencies and false values, you need weapons. You need the right weapon at the right time to do the right thing. So that person, and you see the sadhus are full of great examples of this. Not by angry speech, but by sweet speech, they change so many beings. Okay, so this is one idea about Gayatri, and that's just her 5 heads. And for each hand and what she's holding, there's so much to be said. Now the mantra. Let me tell you a little bit about that. In brief, this mantra, as a general translation, is given like this. right? Om Bhur Bhuva Suvaha. Om is the name of the Lord. And the Rishis say it is the best name of the Lord because it is a sound that really encapsulates the meaning of what is the reality. And they give so many reasons. Om is ekam akshara, one syllable. And Bhagavan is ekam and akshara. For those who are studying. Okay. Like that, Om is so great. And just the sound of Om is purifying. Brahmaji, when he manifested this world, he used two words, Om and Atha. So because of that reason, it is said that it is so purifying. Bhur Bhuva Suvaha. Those are names of three lokas. There's not only Bhuhu, or not only earth is there. Many lokas are there in this world. And they're discovering that, and a lot of logic behind that, and all of that. But the idea is twofold. One, this mantra you're about to chant is equally effective in every loka. And two, that Om, which for children, when you chant Om, is like you're calling the Lord directly. That's the bat phone for Bhagavan. Boom, he's listening. And you study a bit more, I said Om is remembrance of the Lord. Best way. Then, Bhur Bhuvaha Suvaha means that Lord who pervades this whole universe. That's the message. And the Vedantic study of that thing is so great. Om is Turiya, Nirguna, Brahman. And Bhuvaha Suvaha, Bhur Bhuvaha Suvaha are Vishwam Prajna, Tejasa and Prajna. It's the, you remember at that, I remember that Lord who is without any qualities, but has manifested as all three waking states, as Virat, Hiranyagarbha, and Ishvara. The Lord has pervaded the whole universe. That's how the mantra starts. And that was given beforehand to prep the mind so you can chant the mantra. Then, Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. So that's one phrase. And it says, Dhimahi, we. So the mantra is a we mantra, not an I mantra. We meditate on that Varenyam Bhargaha, that adorable, choicest, Shreshta, greatest, what? Bhargaha, light, self-effulgence of the Devaha of Surya Bhagavan. Savitri is given there for the name of Surya Bhagavan. There's great meaning in that. So we all meditate on the light of the Lord, of the sun, Sun Devata. Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyoya Na Prachodayat. Dhiyaha Naha. Our intellects may he activate, may he enlighten, may he make it bright, may he inspire it. This is the meaning of the mantra. And it might sound like you're, again, asking for something. And I just went on saying we don't ask in Hinduism in our prayers. But, like I said, the very act of doing the chanting is invoking that in the mind. Then at a deeper level, actually, the Rishis say this is a Mahavakya. It's a great statement that reveals your oneness with the Lord. Tat Varenyam and Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo and Bhargaha. That is existence, Ananda, and consciousness. So, and Dhimahi is not just I meditate on that, I don't visualize that, remember that sun, I remember Satchitananda, the reality. This is for those who are studying Vedanta. That which is the material cause and efficient cause of this world. That is what Varenyam and Devasya mean. That which I meditate on, may it brighten my intellect. That means that the consciousness that is me is the same as that there. So this is a deeper understanding for deeper study. So, like I said, the essence of that Vedas is also there in this mantra. Okay, now I'll leave you here with this much information. I know a lot of information overload. I hope something from this you have taken, right? Most of all, today's Gayatri Jayanti, take a moment and chant. Alone, by yourself, maybe in your bed, wherever, right? Sit quietly and chant and get the benefits from the rishis. The sound itself brings the phala. Let us chant one time and we'll hand it back over to Panditji. Oh, I'll have a quick announcement also. Om Bhur Bhuvaswaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. All right. Panditji nicely encouraged us also to tell about a wonderful project that is going on for Guyana. Guyana is perhaps the oldest Indian civilization outside of Bharat, in the North American, South American side. Probably the only other one is Mauritius. Means to say, outside of Bharat, Sanatanis, these people who belong to this tradition of greatness, being a good person, and this whole tradition, they live where in the world? And they have established them where in the world? First and foremost in Guyana. And still to date, if you can just read a little Sanskrit shloka, you're considered a pandit. Still today, if you want to study your own tradition, you have to go to India. It's a strange thing. Half the population is from Bharat. And I don't know what it was. Can't put my finger on it. But that civilization that has come up, from the West Indian civilization, has shown the world and shown all those in Bharat also what it is to hold on to steadfastly goodness and greatness in Sanatana Dharma. And that is seen very clearly because only in the West Indies, specifically also in Guyana, you find some practices that are lost in Bharat. Like the Jandi flag is lost. You will find it maybe from North India, like in the center of a village. The only place in the world where it's still practiced? Like that, so many traditions have been held on to. Not by you, and not by your parents also. By your grandparents. Because you check and see. What percentage of spirituality, if you want to say, or religion do you practice compared to your parents? If you were to give it a percentage. 50? 10? Somewhere between 50 and 10? Who says yes? Raise your hand. More than that? 100% of what your parents practice? This is participatory. Generally, when I ask, people say like 20% of what they did. No more than 50. Right? Times have changed, they say. And the parents, if you ask about their grandparents, they say, same thing, 20, no more than 50. So 50% times 50% is what? And then your children will practice what? Certainly not 50%. If you grow up here where you're 1% of the population. So in one household where there's a grandmother and a grandchild, in that one household, all of Sanatana Dharma, finished. For a society that held it for hundreds of years. The dire situation exists. Now, what can you do about that? The reason for that is because the modern generation, with ChatGPT, internet, YouTube, everything, they need proper explanation for things. And if you can't give it, the religion has devolved into superstition. Raw superstition. Like, just as much as a black cat crosses your road and you don't want, so too people practice spirituality. God, go hit me with a lightning bolt, so I have to go. Like that. And the truth of the thing gone. So, why can it not be that in the oldest civilization outside of Bharat, we can't have our own Vivekanandas. If you give a civilization that knows how to hold like that, Jnanam, what do you think will happen? So this is the type of project Chinmaya Mission is going to help in Guyana, providing knowledge on the ground along with secular education. Chinmaya Mission has a wonderful curriculum and school that has taught the West Indies and all that type of thing. But Chinmaya Mission is going for the first time to Guyana now also. I'm got a nice chance to also go there and serve. So I'm moving to Guyana to do that type of work there, whatever work we've been doing here, whatever little contribution Gina and I are going. And to start that work, we're looking to start an ashram and a secular school that blends both secular and spiritual education together. And we've done it already in Trinidad. The mission has done it in a superb way, the most advanced campus on the island. So, for that now we're hoping, looking towards Guyanese people, if you want to give something back to the nation, if you want to also go back, you want to be able to, you as a youth want to go back and you want to see Guyana in its heyday, I mean spiritually, that type of thing we're bringing back now. So there's an opportunity, many opportunities to find out. If you're a youth, means you're in university and you're under 35, in that range, a group is going to Guyana for a week in a safe way, and they're going to spend a week with Swami Prakashanandaji. He'll be teaching classes. In addition to that, they're going all about, including Kaichur Falls, right? So the planned safe trip to Guyana, satsang trip also. That's for youth, so if you wanted to go. In addition, that's not the main topic. I'm leading up to it. In addition to that, we're doing a 3-week Bhagavad Gita camp in Guyana. The kids come to the ashram, and for 3 weeks, all day, they study Bhagavad Gita through games and fun and all this type of thing, right? This is the second time we're doing that, and last year was a blast. And children learn to chant so many things. They learn Sanskrit, they learn Bhagavad Gita, values, they learn their own tradition, how to answer questions, so many things. The thing is, though, that to run a camp like that, pick them up from where they are, bring them to the ashram, do food and all that type of thing, the children from the villages and all that, many of them are not in a position to pay for that kind of thing. So what we did last year is we asked for people to sponsor a child in Guyana. 100% of the funds go there, no overhead costs, go straight there. So there's a chance to do that. $300 Canadian to sponsor a child for 3 weeks, all meals, transportation, everything included. And finally, we're trying to get the word out. Chinmaya Mission is not going to build a mandir in Guyana. We're going to build a school. And to help with that type of thing, we want to let people know this is what Chinmaya Mission is, this is what Chinmaya Mission does. It's an educational institution, first and foremost. And if you can spread the word that this organization is there, they're doing this type of work, if you know anybody on the ground who can help in any way, that is great. And on this coming Sunday, we're having a fundraiser in Brampton. We're doing 108 Hanuman Chalisa chanting. And people are sponsoring 1 Hanuman Chalisa, right? I think for $200. Or giving any donation. Or sponsoring a child. Or telling somebody. Or coming out just to clap and say, I support education. Whatever it might be. So please come out. That is happening next Sunday. And it ends with a culmination. Swami Prakashanandaji from Trinidad. Many of you may or may not have met him. You should meet him. He's a real sadhu. He's coming to do a talk on Ram Raj through Ram Kaj. How to bring Ram Raj through Ram Kaj. So he's talking on that as a culmination, 5 to 7 p.m. next Sunday. So the flyers will be there. Thank you, Panditji, for this time, for making the announcement. And thank you, everybody, for your rapt attention.
Prem Sylvias Bhagwan Ki Jai. Let us give him a round of applause, please. Amazing, amazing devotee as always. Not less expected devotees. I'm pretty sure tonight you have been reminded or been informed of Ved Mata, Gayatri Mata, Savitri Mata. It's important for us to remember the positivity that comes out of that Gayatri Japan, not just mechanically doing it as our most learned Acharya Ji would have expounded tonight, to our brahmacharis. We have been told many times every day Gayatri Japan should be done. Not just do it because you're told to do it. How important it evokes the energy within. Savitri, Saraswati. From that Savita, Bhagavan Surya, she's called Savitri. Very important could not go in too much more because we already would get lost, no? But the basic that he gave us tonight, I want to encourage you and remind us all. Hold on to the feet of Gayatri Mata. Continue to do our Gayatri Japam every day. If it's just 3 times for Grahasti, household, as we say, we are busy people, but even 3 times in the morning, 3 times at midday, 3 times in the evening. You at least, Bhagavan Hari will look at you and say, you know, you're Grahastri, you have a little break. You have so many things to do, but at least you're still remembering the deities and remembering your duties as Manushrupam. Once again, thank you for such stern reminder to all of us. And thank you so much for being here, Regina ji. And this platform, this temple, this mandir is always open to you, both Chinmaya Mission to a large extent. And like I said, anytime anyone is visiting, I know you guys will be, what a great need of them born in Guyana, correct?
No.
Right? Need of them born in Guyana, but they're going back to give up their life here. Many of us run to come here to build a life we call a life. If that is called life, what we're enjoying today. But for you to decide. But going back there, giving up their loved ones, you know. I thought coming across the world was half of coming across the world. Now look where you're going, eh? To Sevak, to serve Bhagavan. They're 2 wonderful souls. And anyone in Guyana, you know, family, it's an East Coast, right?
East Coast. Wonderful.
Mandrapur, yeah. Mandrapur, the ashram is currently. So if there's family and friends you have back home, we have a wonderful, wonderful soul there. Brahmachari Tejot.
Jyoti is there.
The Jyot is there. When some of us went back in November, he was at our satsang, we met him. So, supporters who are in Guyana and want to have this knowledge, I tell you, like our dear Acharya ji says, for many of us become what we are here today. We didn't have this facility, and many of us as parents in Guyana, in the Caribbean, in Trinidad know this. Trinidad have outdone us. Now it is for us to help in whatever way we can to support and allow this mission. It has to start from somewhere. Some people might say, why not in Essequibo? Why not in Berbice? But it has to start somewhere at least. No? I know Swami Prakashananda ji had really want to stay on the East Bank, somewhere there around Providence area where the stadium is, but land is not an easy thing. As much as all the hype is going on there, when you're on the ground, it's a different thing. He could not, but at least he's starting from on the East Coast, not far off. I mean, Ogle gonna be International Airport, if not already there. So it's closer to there for fly in and fly out. But in whatever way you can support a child, support this mission for education. You see, everybody looked. I'm still live, right? Everybody looked that Trinidadians are so talented, right? They're children, they're so young, they're so educated, they can play the instrument. Where it start from? These knowledge that we are coming to Mandir to hear for the first time, they've done it in grade 2 and grade 3 and grade 4 in school. These children are chanting Gita slokas like no tomorrow, better than us. We can't even attempt to chant. And not only Hindu children, everybody who go to that Hindu school. So powerful. That's why they're musicians, they chant, they're so qualified or talented. Now this is trying to move across to Guyana. So I beg of all of us, for the sustenance of Hinduism, I was blessed to listen to these children, as Devji would have mentioned. You get goosebumps as you say back home. That these little children, whole chapter of Gita, whole out of their head. And we barely could remember 1 line or 2 line, or if not in English, we can't even remember. Like that. But it's because it was handed down to them earlier. You and I all can play a very, very pivotal role in sustaining this dharma and in helping. Our foreparents would have been through so much to allow us to do what we are doing here today. Please make a conservative effort in whatever way you can help to allow this parampara, this lineage of handing down of education, jnana, so that our world tomorrow will be a better place than we live in. Thank you so much, Acharya ji. Thank you so much for being here with us and giving us this knowledge. Next week, I know we have a park day, and Devji know this also because I would have been out there to support them with this. After Multikund in the evening, after Multikund, I mean, we should finish by 12. In the evening, it's a great
You can come for 5 when Swamiji is there, or you can come whenever you're done. You
Yeah.
come here. Don't let this program not happen, or don't try and split your time. This Mandir is a standout organization, and you're very lucky to have a dynamic and humble Panditji like our Panditji. So you please support Pandit Jageshwar, support the Mandir, bring people here and all that. And if you have time and energy, you come out again afterwards for this for Guyana.
I encourage you, you want to not miss that evening with Swami Prakashan and the GD Guru of these two chelas. I have studied at his feet also. Very humble soul, educated soul. We are hoping one day he can bless, or we can be blessed to listen to him in our temple. I encourage you, please come out in the evening. If you can, it's right at Go Road, right? AJ close to you on the other side, Chinmay Misha. That's where he's from, right? On the other side. He's in the Gore Zone Plaza, you know? So please come out and let us educate ourselves and support Dharma. Once again, thank you, and you're always welcome, Ginaji. When you return again, you're always welcome to visit us. Once again, dear devotees, thank you so much for being here with us. We went a little over tonight, but it's worth it on a very blessed evening. Ekadasi, Nirjala Ekadasi, Gayatri Jayanti. Thank you so much. Thank you to Debbie and family for preparing Bhojan, Prasadam. To our decor team, let us give them a round of applause. They always do, Auntie Nadi and team do a fantastic job, but today they were pressed for time because we had to get so many things done to get Acharya up there so we can send you back home. I know it's Tuesday's school and everything. But thank you so much. Sunday we celebrate Ganga Dushera, beautiful puja and adoration to Ganga Ma. May the blessings of the divine continue to be with all of us. Let us kindly stand as we commence with Aarti. Our dear Gandharvas will lead us with Aarti. Feel free to take a tali and wave. Yani kani kshapapani janamantarakthanischa tani tani vinakshante prarakshanaya pade pade.
Om Jai Shiva Om Kaira Prabhu Jai Shiva Om Kaira Jai Shiva Om Kaira Prabhu Jai Shiva Om Kaira Brahma Vishnu Sada Shiva Brahma Vishnu Sada Shiva Hari Gange Bhaira Om Jai Shiva Om Kaira Ekanana Chaturanana Panchanana Raje Hami Panchanana Raje Hansasanai Garurasana Hansasanai Garurasana Vishwavana Samaje Om Jai Shiva Om Kaira दो बुझे चार चतुर बुझे दस बुझे अति सोहे स्वामी दस बुझे अति सोहे तीनों रूप निरखते तीनों रूप निरखते त्रिभुवन चल मोहे Om Jai Shiva Om Kaira Jai Shiva Om Kaira Prabhu Jai Shiva Om Kaira Brahma Vishnu Sada Shiva Brahma Vishnu Sada Shiva Hari Gange Daya Om Jai Shiva Om Kaira जे नारक रतय निरंजन नारक रतय निरंजन गणपति बाजे ओम जय लक्ष्मी रमना जय लक्ष्मी रमना स्वामी जय लक्ष्मी रमना सत्यनारायण स्वामी सत्यनारायण स्वामी जनपातक हैरना ओम जय लक्ष्मी रमना ओम जय लक्ष्मी रमना स्वामी जय लक्ष्मी रमना
Let us all join in closing prayer. Om Tvameva Mata Shapita Tvameva Bandhushasika Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Om Mantrahinam Priyahinam Bhaktahinam Janarjanam Yagya Pujitam Maya Deva Paripurnam Tarastame. Let us all bow if we can. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Gurur Saksha Para Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Hari Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Principal Shiva Shankar Bhagwan ki Jai. Principal Lakshmi Narayan Bhagwan ki
Jai.
Principal Gayatri Mata ki
Jai.
Principal Veda Sanatan Dharma ki
Jai.
Principal Lakshmi Narayan Mandir ki
Jai.
Sabtan ko Jai Jai Sita Ram.
Har Har Mahadev.
You, Bhojan is prepared. Please participate in something before you leave. Please and thank you. Do participate in Yarati and Chanamrit and Bhojan. Once again, thank you to all you wonderful souls. And please join us any Sunday, 9 to 12, Monday for Shiva Puja, Friday Durga Puja, and all respective Parvas. And of course, our Multi-Kun Yajna is on Sunday, the 23rd, outdoor. Please come out and support and participate in any way, shape, or form if you can.